and a super good morning to each and every single one of you. Today, Wednesday, the 9th of August, and for those of you that are my fans in South Africa, yes, National Women's Day. Have a super good day over there as well. Um, we've got our heat wave firmly with us at the moment. Last night, overnight, dipped down to a minimum of 28 Celsius. Today, we're nudging up around about 40. Tomorrow, well over 40. So that could have an impact on energy levels. My energy levels at the moment are a little bit down. That's simply because I'm, 9 o'clock in the morning at the moment. 24/9, there's 33. So I'm 33 hours into a fast, but I will be getting some nutrition in a little bit later because I'm due to be hitting the gym at 11. So I'll be getting some nutrition in fairly soon so that I've got some degree of energy by the time I get to the gym. Work with that and then roll on from there. After gym today, by the way, the goal is to do the outlines of 3, potentially 4 blog posts, and then 4:30 this afternoon, when I've got my Project 24 content hour. The idea there is to be able to set this camera up in a safe spot to be able to see my screen so that you can watch me burn through um, blog post writing at a rate of about 1,000 words every 15 minutes. So what I'll probably do there is split those recordings up, probably do 3 different recordings and have those coming out to you in 3 different videos, that you can see that producing um, a first draft of 1,000 word blog post in 12 to 15 minutes is no flash in the pan. It's something that can be repeated over and over again. Anyway, but with that being said, let me get back, finish my walk, hit the shower, and then get some calories into my system. Speak to you a bit later. Hi there, I'm set up over here to see if I can show you my first round of 1,000 words in about 12 to 15 minutes of blogging time. What you will see here is that I've got my blog post set up with its subheadings. I've got the subheadings and I've got 1 or 2 small notes underneath each one of the subheadings just to jog my memory, and that's what I do when I do my search analysis and choose my blogs. What I do at the same time is that I will note down what my planned subheadings are, and then as I think of them, I will make a small little note underneath each of the subheadings, and that just simply is to jog my memory when I get to writing the actual blog post. Now that helps me in the writing process, and what you can see over here is I'm in Google Documents at the moment, and there is Google voice typing. This specific blog post has got 6 subheadings that might run longer than 1,000 words, but basically to do 1,000 words in about 12 minutes means around about 80 words a minute. So as long as I maintain 80 words a minute for however long this blog post is going to be, I will come out at my target of 1,000 words in about 12 minutes. So and as you can see already at the moment over here, it's sitting at 152, so obviously those words won't count as part of the total, but let's see how well I do as on this specific blog post, and if I can hit 80 words a minute average all the way through until the end. So what I'll do is I'll once I start voice typing, you'll be able to hear me talking and voice typing for the first little bit, but then what I'll do is I'll overlay, when in the editing process, I might overlay just a little bit of gentle music or something like that, just so that you don't hear my voice droning on and on as I'm voice typing, but you'll be able to easily see
the word total over here climbing as I go through the process of typing the blog post. Bearing in mind, this is the first draft of the blog post, and then once I've got a couple of these done, I'll take you through the process that I do for the editing this down into a final blog post. And what I'm just checking over here, yes, my laptop is heating up quite a lot because I had to switch off the fan, otherwise this this recording would have a whole lot of wind noise coming from the fan. So as soon as I finish voice typing this one, I'll need to switch on the fan a little bit, let the computer cool down enough for me to be able to do a second one, and hopefully I can get the second one done relatively quickly. Let me just lift the camera up here quickly, up in the corner over there. You can see that's the little Zoom call icon that's open at the moment. That's simply because I'm part of today's Project 24 Mastermind, which is covering the topic of Content Hour, in which we have an accountability group going where we each work separately on our own individual projects. So with that being said, let me see if I can get my word total going, and just for my own sake, what I'm going to be doing over here is setting up a timer in the NaNoWriMo, and let's say for argument's sake we'll set it up, oh wait, you can't see that quite as clearly up there. We'll set this up as, say, how many minutes? I'll set it up as 20 because this blog post might actually run slightly long. Actually, no. Let me think. Correction. I'll set it up as a 15-minute timer. I'll start the timer and head back and get ready to rock and roll. Let's see how well I'm able to do. How well do you think I'll manage? Let's see. One of the things that I get asked the most often by runners that I speak to is what should be their optimal training mileage period. One of the things that makes this question incredibly difficult to answer is that it is very much dependent upon how much running the person has done and what their level of running fitness is. Period. New line. For instance, a relatively new runner will be needing to do much lower mileage than somebody that has already been running for a decade or longer, simply because if you've been running regularly for more than a decade, you have already built up the strength in your bones, muscles, and connective tissue to be able to cope with the higher volume of running mileage. Period. Therefore, if it is an adult runner that is relatively new to the sport, then I would suggest that that specific runner maybe look at between 20 and 30 miles a week, and then build their volume up from that over a period of years until they get to the point where they are comfortably running at a mileage of the type of training needed to run a decent marathon and potentially qualify for Boston. Period. New line. With that in mind, let's have a look at the different types of run mileage that are deemed optimal for different levels of runner as they develop, and then at the end I'll explain to you how all of those at the end I will explain to you how each of these different levels can be incorporated into some I started my running career in high school doing cross country during the winter months, and I was a middle distance to slightly longer distance runner on the track during the summer months. When I first started summer months, when I first started at the beginning of high school, we used to do about 25 miles per week as a team. Period. You know, as I progressed through high school, that weekly mileage increased so that by the time I finished high school, I was averaging between 40 and 50 miles per week. However, there were some runners within our team that were absolute mileage monsters, and they were already in high school doing in excess of 80 miles per week. But that was more than what my body was able to cope with and recover from, while still being able to concentrate on my academics. Period. But generally speaking, for most high school runners, somewhere between 30 and 40 miles per week is a general ballpark that can enable a runner to be able to cope with high school competitive running places in our lives. Once we get to the collegiate level, what we can say is that we need to make a distinction between division 1 athletes and division 2 athletes. Again, runners who are competing at collegiate level would normally have been competing at high school, so therefore collegiate level running training will be a step up from what we were doing at high school. If you recall that as mentioned that the average normal running for a high school athlete is somewhere between 30 and 40 miles per week, and that when I was getting towards the end of my high school career, I was getting closer to the 50 mile per week mark. With that in mind, it makes sense that even for Division 3 colleges, their running program will have athletes starting at 50 miles per week during their first year of college and moving up from there during the course of their collegiate career. Division 3 colleges now Division 1 colleges will normally have their athletes starting off at about 60 miles per week during their first year of college and building up from there. Period. Division 1 college runners are normally running at just about sub-elite level, which means that many of those runners, by the time they get to the end of their college career, will be running at close to 120 miles per week. Period. New line. I competed at Division 3 level at college, and I worked my way up to between 75 and 80 miles per week at a peak, but I found that I was starting to get injured the moment I started pushing beyond 80 miles a week. However, there were some runners within our team that were able to cope with a weekly mileage between 100 and 110 miles. Period. Once our collegiate level years are complete and we move out of college into the realm of adult running, there are two different types of competitive runners out there. You've got your sub-elite athletes and your elite runners. There, I see we are 980 words, but we've still got 3 subheadings to go. So this will definitely be a post that will run beyond 1,000 words, but let's see how far we get. My computer went offline briefly, so I lost the word count and the voice title, so I'm just resetting that. It automatically defaults to US English. I'm going to really change that to UK English, and I'm ready to record. The way I define sub-elite athletes are those type of athletes that can relatively comfortably qualify for the Boston Marathon, but will not be able to qualify for the Olympic trials. So these are the athletes that can run a marathon at somewhere between 2 hours 20 minutes at the low end to 2 hours 45 minutes at the high end. Period. Ulan. These sub-elite athletes will be generally doing about 70 to 120 miles per week. So note that in order to be able to do 120 miles per week, it involves doing double sessions of 120 miles each day. At the same time, some of these athletes will also be doing double run days where it will be a gentle run both in the morning and in the afternoon. My one high school friend that ran with me through high school and at college and was one of those mileage monsters that were comfortably doing close to 100 miles a week at high school and already making up towards 100 at college. Averages 20 miles per day. So you're basically talking about somebody that runs a marathon every single day of the week. So, little wonder that he's such a dominant force in the world of marathon running. So, however, I wouldn't suggest that any of you try his level of mileage on your own running programs, because that will be the fastest way to break your body into a bundle of running injuries. Period. From my own perspective, I mentioned that I once was able to run at about 75 to 80 miles a week. But these days I have to be content with doing a lot less. we get onto the important point, which is how adult runners need to be adapting their mileage based on how many years they have been running, especially those that only start running as adults. You know, the easy way to look at this as a new runner will be to say that think of yourself operating at a mileage of about 20 miles per week as a start level and working your way up towards 15 miles a week. Yeah. And especially if you are starting out, one of the ways to look at this is rather than look at the specific mileage that you need to hit every week right at the beginning when you start out as an athlete, rather look at it in an annual term. Doing a 20 miles per week average, but as you start out, you're not strong enough to be able to cope with 20 miles as yet. What you can do is look at the year as being approximately 50 weeks. If you do 20 miles a week for 50 weeks, that's 1,000 miles over the course of the year. Period. This is what I do when I put together a program for somebody that's just starting out as an adult. Is I look at the program spread out over the course of the year and look at a mileage total of somewhere in the region of 1,000 miles for the year. Yeah. Period. Moving. This means that even if you're only doing between 10 and 15 miles per week, at the beginning, by the time you've gotten past your first 6 months as a runner, it's quite possible that you'll be up in the region of about 25 miles per week. This will enable you to still complete somewhere close to 1,000 miles in your first year. Complete somewhere close to 1,000 miles in your first year as a runner. In your second year as a runner, you can then up this annual target to approximately 1,100 miles for the year, and then you build up through the distances as you go through the year to be able to towards that annual target, rather than getting completely hung up on how many miles you're doing each and every single week. Because truth be told, as adults, we have all sorts of things that complicate our lives and take time away from our running. And if you are fixated on completing a specific number of miles each and every single week, you might be tempted to push your long run at the end of the week to a distance that is too long for your strength to be able to cope with where it is at the moment. Period. Okay, this piece of voice typing has obviously taken me longer than 12 minutes. However, My word total there is 1,947. So if I go here to 1947 and I just do those to update progress, and I think what I'll do is in the description box down below from the video clip, what I'll do is I'll timestamp the beginning and end of when I was typing, and then in the description down below you can see what my word count average is. But I think I was somewhere in the region of, it took me somewhere in the region of 20 minutes in total. So if I go and pull up my calculator, I think it was in the region of 20 minutes, and I go 1947 divided by 20, that brings me out at 97 words per minute, average typing speed, which is well in excess of the 80 words per minute target that I had. So I think I'm at a 1,000 words per 12 minutes target there. Good evening to each and every single one of you. The time's just gone 9:30 in the evening. I'm going to be wrapping up my day really soon, but I did some sums and calculations based on the blog post that I wrote during the Project 24 work hour this evening, and here are the numbers. The blog post, because the challenge to myself is, can I write a 1,000 word blog post in 12 minutes? And the blog post that I wrote, in the end, there was more to write than 1,000 words, so I went well over 1,000 words. So I landed up with writing 1,947 words of the blog post in 22 minutes. That works out at being 87.5 words per minute average writing speed. So if I extrapolate that 88.5 words, if I extrapolate that out to 12 minutes, at that writing speed, in 12 minutes, I wrote 1,062 words in 12 minutes at that average writing speed, which there goes to show that yes, 1,000 words in 12 minutes is absolutely possible if my writing speed is the equivalent of 1,062 words in 12 minutes. And there I showed you really clearly exactly how it can be done. Bearing in mind that's the first draft, and then I'll give you a little bit of an over-the-shoulder view of how I go about the editing process and see how quickly I can edit that first draft into a final ready for publication blog post. But before I get to that, to prove that this was no flash in the pan, how about I do exactly the same tomorrow? Do another blog post and show that I can do my blog post with a faster words per minute, faster than 80 words per minute, which is what I need to be able to hit to be able to produce the equivalent of 1,000 words in 12 minutes. But with that being said, I've got sweat pouring down my face because our new heat wave is well and truly here, and I need to wrap up, get a good night's rest, because I need to get on the bicycle tomorrow so that I can get to that fountain and refill water. Otherwise, I won't be able to stay hydrated for the remainder of the week, which is vital to be able to keep producing content. Anyway, I'm calling it a night. I hope this video was somewhat informative and hopefully a little bit motivating, because if I can do the equivalent of 1,000 words in 12 minutes,
so can you. Give my methodology a try and see what you are able to produce. Speak to tomorrow. Good night.